This moment is for everybody. Housewives with a baby on their hip, students with a backpack of questions, entrepreneurs sketching ideas on napkins, pastors nursing congregations through storms, mechanics with oil on their hands, CEOs with calendars full of meetings, and kings who have discovered that crowns are heavy when purpose is light. This is for you. Because the most democratic truth on earth is time, and the most deceitful illusion is later. Make a note of this. The richest place on earth is the cemetery because people died full. Write this down. The cemetery is not simply a field of stones. It is a bank of undeployed assets. It is full of books unwritten, songs unsung, businesses unbuilt, solutions unserved, schools unstarted, laws unreformed, medicines undiscovered, policies unchallenged, charities unfounded, apologies unspoken, reconciliations unattempted, and blueprints that never left the bottom drawer. The grave is heavy, not because of bones, but because of buried assignments. Teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. That's Psalm 90-12. Wisdom counts days. Foolishness counts excuses. I took a walk through a cemetery at 3 o'clock in the morning once, wrestling with God. I asked a dangerous question. Why is this ground so thick with silence? And the answer came like a whisper that wounded me, because this is where potential is imprisoned. Make a note of this. Potential unused is not neutral. It is theft from the future. What you postpone, a child yet unborn may have needed yesterday. I must work the works of him who sent me while it is day. Night is coming when no one can work. John 9-4. Read that again in your spirit. There is a day and there is a night. There is an opening and there is a closing. There is a window of stewardship and a door that will shut. Let me help you see it. Picture a stone with your name etched into it, your birth date, a dash, and then a date you do not know. The dash is your assignment window. Imagine the day they carve it. Now imagine while they polish that marble, your manuscript is still in your notebook, your patent application is still in your drafts, your ministry plan is still in your someday folder, your apology is still in your throat, and your generosity is still in your budget proposal. See the outrage? Feel the injustice? It is not death that terrifies me. It is the possibility of dying full. Hope deferred makes the heart sick. Proverbs 13:12. And a generation can get sick when your hope is perpetually deferred. Say this after me. I am necessary. Louder, my life is necessary. Now make a covenant with your own conscience. I will not die full. I will finish what I was born to deliver. What did I say? Say it again until your fear hears it. Your presence on this planet is not an accident looking for a reason. It is a reason looking for expression. True leadership is not about control. It is about service. And your assignment is the most sacred service you owe to God and to us. Write this down. Purpose clarifies identity. Assignment clarifies responsibility. We will discuss that in detail later, but I must lay the foundation now. You were created on purpose, for purpose, with purpose, but purpose alone is not enough. Many know they are called. Few know what to complete. The Apostle Paul did not say, I started the race. He said, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. 2 Timothy 4-7. Finishing is the proof of faith, not starting. To everything there is a season and a time, to every purpose under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3-1. If there is a time to purpose, there is a time to deliver. Let me confront you with love. The applause you crave, the title you covet, the platform you desire, none of these make deposits on the graveyard's deficit. The cemetery is not impressed by your lights. It is only impoverished when you empty yourself. Write this down. Our goal is not to discover purpose and then sit in admiration of it. Our goal is to identify our God-given assignment and finish it with disciplined character through service-centered leadership for the sake of generations we may never meet. This is a stewardship issue, not a celebrity project. The parable of the talents in Matthew 25 is not a fairy tale. It is an audit. The master returned and demanded increase, not excuses. I speak to the student, your certificate is a receipt, not a completion. To the entrepreneur, your pitch deck is not a product. To the pastor, your sermon is not your assignment. The people's transformation is. To the mechanic, your hands are altars where broken things get a second life. Don't underestimate your oil-stained mission. To the CEO, profit without purpose is a polished coffin. To the king, laws without justice are decorated chains. Write this down. Die empty, not famous. Die empty, not busy. Die empty, not applauded. So here is our covenant for this journey. We will walk back through history to unlearn lies. We will visit the night to hear our assignment. We will build plans that translate vision into delivery. We will fight distractions like enemies of state. We will serve until we are sought, and we will transfer what we finish to those who must run after us. But it starts here. Moral urgency, not next year, not after you feel like it. Now, say it with me. I will not die full. I will finish what I was born to deliver again until the cemetery loses interest in your name. Make a note of this as we begin. This message exists so you will die empty. Not empty of hope, but empty of hoarded gifts. Not empty of faith, but empty of unused capacity. Not empty of love, but empty of withheld service. The grave will not be richer because you pass through time. The earth will be richer because you pass through obedience. And when your dash is done, may heaven and history agree you finished. Now, let me diagnose the disease before we prescribe the cure. Write this down. Potential is everything you can do but haven't done yet. Everything you can become but have not become. Everything you can build but have not built. Everything you can bless but have not blessed. Potential is God's silent investment in your clay. He hid it not from you but for you. To whom much is given, much will be required. Luke 12:48. Requirement follows endowment. Your potential is evidence that you are under obligation. Make a note of this. A seed that never leaves your hand never becomes a forest. Say that with me. A seed that never leaves your hand never becomes a forest. Genesis 8:22 says, while the earth remains, seed time and harvest shall not cease. Seed time is not harvest time, and thinking about sowing is not sowing. Ecclesiastes 11:4 warns, he who observes the wind will not sow, and he who regards the clouds will not reap. Waiting for perfect conditions is the religion of the unproductive. You've been forecasting the weather for 10 years and you still haven't planted. Where did you learn that? Who discipled you in delay? Write this down. Procrastination is the cemetery's chief recruiter. Unreleased potential does not evaporate, it is buried. That is why the grave is wealthy. Every time you defer obedience, your potential begins to migrate to the other side of your obituary. Proverbs 13:12 says, hope deferred makes the heart sick. Deferred potential makes a generation sick. Your delay inflates the hospital of regret, and regret is a cruel accountant. Its interest compounds with time. The longer you hold the seed, the more forest you owe. The longer you say later, the more orphans of ideas you leave behind. James 4:17 puts it as straight as a sword. To him who knows to do good and does it not, to him it is sin. Not mistake, sin. Why? Because unreleased potential is theft from the future. Time is the only non-renewable resource. Write this down. You can lose money and earn it again. You can lose friends and by grace reconcile. You can lose status and rebuild, but you can never regain yesterday. Ephesians 5:16 tells us, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Purpose redeems time. Procrastination burns it on the altar of excuses. True leadership is not about filling a calendar. It is about fulfilling a calling. True leadership is not about speed. It is about stewardship. Some of you are busy like a hamster movement without mileage. Purpose gives you mileage. Delay gives you dizziness. Let me ask you a dangerous question. Who is waiting on the other side of your obedience to start? Say it slowly. Who is waiting? A mother in a clinic that your invention would make affordable? A young man drowning in despair that your book would have rescued? A village drinking disease that your policy could have purified? A classroom still dark because your school remains a folder? A church still wandering because your courage still whispers? The creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed, Romans 8:19. They're not waiting for your title, they're waiting for your delivery. Write this down. Delay disguises itself as research, as preparation, as excellence, as prudence, but sometimes it is fear with a master's degree. The soil does not respect your thesis about seed, only the seed you sow. You say, I'm just not ready. Ready for what? To obey. Obedience is not a feeling, it is a decision. The widow's oil did not multiply in the prophet's sermon, it multiplied in the pouring. Your potential will not multiply in your conference notes, it multiplies in your consistent release. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with your might. Ecclesiastes 9:10. Not with your mood, with your might. I remember walking through that graveyard at 3 in the morning and arguing with God. I could almost hear manuscripts rustling in the soil, melodies muffled under marble, systems and solutions whispering. We were assigned to the living, but they never signed for us. Write this down. Unused capacity becomes graveyard wealth. You may say, but I'm waiting on God. Where did he make you wait? That's the question. Often heaven is waiting on you. The Red Sea did not open when Moses discussed strategy. It opened when he stretched the rod. Faith is not a concept, it is a stretch. Let me expose the psychology of procrastination. Delay trades the discomfort of starting for the torment of regret. It offers you temporary relief and invoices you with permanent loss. It protects your image today and destroys your legacy tomorrow. It keeps you safe from criticism and steals you from contribution. That is why I say, write this down. Urgency is a moral duty. I must work the works of him who sent me while it is day. Night is coming when no one can work. John 9:4. There is a day to do and there is a night of no more chances. Your assignment has a season. Seasons do not consult your feelings. So here is the sober truth wrapped in hope. Everything God hid in you is sufficient for the forest he expects from you. But the law is fixed. Seeds must leave the hand. Release must precede increase. Service must precede significance. What you don't deliver becomes graveyard wealth. Say this with me. Not later now. Again, not later now. Make a note of this and tattoo it on your conscience. The world changes when you convert potential into product, ideas into initiatives, compassion into consistent service. Begin before you feel brilliant. Sow before you can count the clouds. Obey while it is day because you are not allowed to die full. Write this down. Purpose is identity. Assignment is deliverable. Say it with me. Purpose is identity. Assignment is deliverable. That single distinction will save you 10 years of wandering. Many are exhausted, not because they are lazy, but because they are blurry. You are trying to finish what you have not named. You are trying to deliver what you cannot define. Purpose answers why you exist. Assignment answers what must be finished now. Purpose is your essence. Assignment is your project. Purpose is eternal. Assignment is seasonal. Purpose is who you are. Assignment is what you must deliver before the window closes. Let me prove it from scripture. Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I sanctified you. I ordained you a prophet to the nations. That is purpose, identity before biology. But notice, Jeremiah still receives specific tasks. In time, letters to write, words to deliver, nations to confront. That's assignment. Jesus himself speaks in John 18:37. For this cause I was born, and for this cause I came into the world, to bear witness to the truth. That is purpose. Yet he also said in Luke 4:43, I must preach the kingdom of God to the other cities also, for therefore am I sent. That's assignment, cities, schedules, deliverables. And at the end he could say, it is finished. John 19:30. He did not say, I am finished. He said, it is finished. Identity endured, assignment concluded. Make a note of this. True leadership is not about people. It is about purpose that serves people. If you chase people, you will perform. If you serve purpose, you will produce. That is why I tell politicians, pastors, CEOs, and parents, reduce yourself to your first name. Your title is a costume. Your name is your essence. Titles can be taken, essence cannot. When you reduce to your first name, you return to original design. I am who I am, God said to Moses. Identity precedes activity. If you lead from title, you will need applause to breathe. If you lead from identity, you will serve quietly until the assignment is complete. Write this down. Purpose is constant, foundational, and eternal. Assignment is seasonal, specific, and measurable. Purpose does not change with geography. Assignment may change with streets. Purpose does not retire. Assignment has deadlines. Purpose cannot be graded by likes. Assignment can be audited by outcomes. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision and make it plain that he may run who reads it. Vision translated into plainness produces a run. If it cannot be written, it cannot be run. If it cannot be measured, it will not be finished. Some of you have a holy fog you call a vision. The Spirit is not a fog machine. He is a finisher. Let's get practical. Purpose answers. Why am I here? Who am I when no one is looking? What truth burns in my bones? Assignment answers. What must I finish in the next 12 to 24 months that converts my purpose into service? Who exactly is the beneficiary? Where exactly is the field? What exactly is the product of my gift? Ephesians 2:10 says, we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. Good works are not abstract feelings. They are finishable works prepared beforehand. Your job is to identify them and walk. Reduce yourself to your first name. Let me say it again. Because religion gave you costumes and colonization gave you scripts. Reduce yourself to your first name. When people ask, who are you? Don't list degrees like jewelry. State your essence in one sentence. Joseph, interpreter and administrator of dreams for national preservation. Deborah, prophetess and judge, producing justice and courage. Bezalel, artisan, filled with skill to build God's dwelling. Who are you? Not what chair you sit in, not what robe you wear. Who are you? Until you can answer that, you will borrow assignments from other people, and comparison will become your counterfeit compass. Write this down. Find your gift and serve it. Don't chase followers. Assignment attracts the assigned. Jesus nothing to chase crowds. He served his gift. The crowds found him. True leaders, therefore, do not seek followers. They pursue purpose, because purpose draws those who were pre-wired for your delivery. Romans 11:29 says, the gifts and the calling of God are without repentance. Your gift is constant. Your delivery system may adapt. In one season, you write a book. In another, you build a school. In another, you train trainers. Same purpose, different assignments, each with a finish line. Some of you are frustrated because you confuse roles with purpose. Roles change. Mother, manager, missionary, mayor. Purpose undergirds them all. A nurse may have the purpose of healing dignity in the sick. The assignment this year might be launching a mobile clinic for 3 villages with measurable targets, locations, dates, numbers served, outcomes tracked. A teacher may have the purpose of awakening curiosity. The assignment might be building a curriculum for underserved 8th graders with a pilot in 2 schools before December. This is not mysticism. This is stewardship. The master returns to settle accounts, not to admire intentions. Ask yourself 3 questions tonight. Write them down and don't apologize for their bluntness. 1, who am I by design? That is purpose. 2, what must be finished before this season closes? That is assignment. What proof will exist in the world when I am done? That is deliverable. If you cannot point to a product, a policy, a program, a platform, a prototype, a people transformed, then you are still admiring purpose and have not yet named assignment. James 2:18 echoes it. Show me your faith without your works, and I will show you my faith by my works. Faith finishes. Make a note of this. Assignment requires calendars. Purpose requires character. Purpose is your north. Assignment is your map. Purpose tells you which mountain. Assignment charts the trail and supplies. That is why true leadership is character before calendar. Protect your identity and you'll protect your deliverable. Lose your identity and you'll become a performer delaying production. Finally, hear me as a father. Do not die with a renamed to-do list called vision. Name your assignment and put a finish line on it. Say it with me. I am necessary. My purpose is clear. My assignment is named. Again, my assignment is named. When Jesus said, I must work the works of him who sent me while it is day, he was not confessing busyness. He was declaring boundaries. Daylight is a boundary. Seasons are boundaries. Use them. And when you stand at the end of this season, I want you to be able to lift a finished thing to heaven, the product of your gift, serve to people so you can say with clean joy, it is finished, and move to the next assignment with your identity intact. Write this down. You are not an accident of biology. You are an assignment of destiny. Say it loud so your doubt can hear you. My presence is intentional. Psalm 139 says, you were fearfully and wonderfully made. Fearfully meaning carefully, precisely, deliberately. Wonderfully meaning uniquely, magnificently, purposefully. Make a note of this. Identity precedes responsibility, and responsibility produces accountability. Once you know who you are, you must deliver what you carry. That is not self-promotion. That is stewardship. Moreover, it is required in stewards that one be found faithful. 1 Corinthians 4:2. Required, not recommended. Faithful, not famous. I met a young man last month, tears in his eyes, 2 million followers in his phone, and nothing finished in his hands. He said, Doc, they love my content. I asked him, where is your contribution? Likes are not legacy. Followers are not fruit. Write this down. Celebrity is a mirror. Stewardship is a window. Celebrity obsesses over how you look. Stewardship obsesses over who gets help. True leadership is not about attention. It is about assignment. True leadership is not about applause. It is about accountability. A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches. Proverbs 22:1. A name is built by trust. Trust is built by consistent delivery. The only thing a leader has to work with is trust. Deliver consistently to protect it. Trust is a currency that appreciates with discipline and evaporates with compromise. Make a note of this. Every promise you keep is a deposit. Every deadline you honor is interest earned. Every boundary you enforce is fraud prevented. Break one vow and your credit score in people's conscience drops for a decade. That is why I tell leaders, reduce your appetite so you can keep your word. Reduce your ego so you can keep your focus. Reduce your schedule so you can keep your standards. Discipline yourself to protect trust. If they can't trust your yes to be yes and your no to be no, they cannot trust your vision to be their future. Listen carefully. You owe your generation what is inside you. Let me prove it from scripture. Acts 13:36 says, David served his own generation by the will of God and fell asleep. He did not perform for his generation. He served his generation. Service implies delivery policies enacted, songs recorded, cities defended, strategies executed, leaders trained. He served, then he slept. Some of you want to sleep before you serve. Write this down. Rest is a reward after release, not an escape from responsibility. Romans 8:19 declares, the creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed. The earth is waiting not for your brand, but for your obedience. You must widen your horizon. Politicians are concerned about the next election. Leaders are concerned about the next generation. Which are you? If your plan dies with your popularity curve, you are not leading, you are trending. Psalm 78 says, God established a testimony so that the generation to come might know that they may set their hope in God. A statesman thinks in grandchildren. A statesman measures a policy by its impact on a child's breakfast 10 years from now. A statesman builds manuals, not mysteries. Institutions, not impressions. Apprentices, not audiences. Write this down. If it cannot be transferred, it is not leadership, it is a performance. Let me father you for a moment. Stop treating your gift like a private hobby. It is a public trust. Your manuscript is not your diary. It is a letter addressed to the future. Your business plan is not a lottery ticket. It is a relief package for a community in waiting. Your invention is not a toy. It is a tool for families you have not met. When Jesus said, "You are the light of the world, a city set on a hill cannot be hidden," Matthew 5:14, he removed your right to hoard illumination. Light that is hidden is treason against the dark. Salt that loses its savor is fired from the kitchen. Harsh? Perhaps. True? Absolutely. Woe to the land when a slave mentality wears a crown, hoarding gifts while craving applause. I want every parent, mentor, manager, mayor, and student to write this sentence and frame it over your desk. My gift is a public trust. I owe my generation its delivery. Now say it with me until your bones register it. My life is a trust. My gift is for service. My assignment is not optional. Again, my life is a trust. My gift is for service. My assignment is not optional. One more time for the cemetery that thought it had a reservation for your potential. My life is a trust. My gift is for service. My assignment is not optional. Here is your practice. Audit your promises, personal, professional, spiritual. Convert each into a deliverable with a date. Who exactly will benefit? What exactly will exist? By when? With whom? Write it down. Then guard your integrity like oxygen. Cancel the unnecessary meeting to keep the necessary milestone. Resist the dopamine of quick applause for the slow joy of finished work. Send weekly evidence to someone you respect. Trust grows under accountability. And for heaven's sake and history's sake, teach as you build. Document your steps. Train your replacements. The parable of the talents in Matthew 25 ends with transfer. You have been faithful over few things. I will make you ruler over many. Rulership follows faithfulness. Expansion follows execution. Lastly, hear hope. You are necessary. You were born for this hour. Heaven's investment in you is not casual, it is calculating. The accounts of your generation have a line item with your name on it. Don't let the budget of destiny run a deficit because you chose celebrity over stewardship. Stand up in your spirit now and answer the call like Isaiah. Here am I, send me. Isaiah 6-8, not to a stage, but to a service. Not to a spotlight, but to a finish line. And when your season changes, may your name be synonymous with trust, your work with usefulness, and your exit with this testimony. You serve your generation by the will of God. Before we can finish clean, we must unlearn dirty scripts. Write this down. You cannot complete a kingdom assignment using colonial costumes, Greek philosophies, and Roman theater. Where did you learn leadership? Who taught your soul that elevation is garments, epaulets, thrones, sirens, and motorcades? Whoever colonized you convinced you that leadership is domination with regalia. They clothed insecurity in robes and called it authority. Make a note of this. Costumes cannot carry character to a finish line. Let me walk you through the museum of bad ideas. The Greeks believed leadership was the product of natural endowment, birth traits, charisma, providence. They baptized personality as destiny. If you were tall enough, eloquent enough, handsome enough, then the gods must have chosen you. The Romans added steel to it, militarized the myth leadership as conquest, power over people, the glory of the state swallowing the dignity of the individual. Europe then exported the fusion, crowns plus crosses plus cannons. They built palaces and catechisms around the same heresy. Some people are born to rule, others are born to be ruled. And when they arrived in your land, they did something worse. They sought a theology to cloak an ideology. Every ideology seeks a theology. They preached submission as holiness while practicing domination as policy. They trained your grandparents to applaud a motorcade more than a milestone. That is why today we confuse ceremony with substance. Titles with transformation, image with influence. Now listen to Jesus destroy the lineage. You know that those who are considered rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their great ones exercise authority over them. But it shall not be so among you. Whoever would be great among you must be your servant. Mark 10:42-43. Write this down. True leadership is not about control. It is about service that empowers. True leadership is not about power. It is about empowerment. True leaders don't manipulate. They inspire. Leadership is really not about people. It is about purpose that serves people. The kingdom model is a towel, not a throne. He rose from supper, laid aside his garments, took a towel, and began to wash the disciples' feet. John 13:4-5. He laid aside garments. He took up a towel. Two actions that will save your generation. Make a note of this. Titles are the cheapest way to rent respect when you have not earned trust. If your introduction must be 10 minutes long, your product is probably 10 months late. Reduce yourself to your first name. Strip your business card until only essence remains. Where did he make you a leader? That's the question. If the only proof you have is a robe, you are a well-dressed slave with a crown. Woe to you, O land, when your king is a child. Ecclesiastes 10:16. A child in the king's chair, craving attention, starving cities, fattening ceremonies. Leadership without character is national childhood with adult budgets. Write this down. Politics without principles produces noise without legacy. A siren is not a strategy. A manifesto without moral anchors is a concert that ends in silence. Politicians are concerned about the next election. Leaders are concerned about the next generation. Statesmanship births generations, policies shaped by principles, not by polls. Budgets that outlive branding. Institutions that do not crumble when hashtags change. If your vision requires you to count votes before you count children's breakfast 10 years from now, you are not leading, you are bargaining with tomorrow. Let me challenge your addiction. Applause is a drug, performance is the needle, theater is the dealer. If you need a crowd to start, you are not ready to finish. Say that with me. If you need a crowd to start, you are not ready to finish. Jesus said, your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. Matthew 6:4. The finishers rehearse in obscurity. They build when cameras are bored. They measure without the dopamine of likes. Write this down. Likes are not light. Light solves darkness. Likes applaud shadows. If your energy rises with compliments and dies with criticism, you are under the custody of clapping. Break free or you will die full of half-built things. Let me be a father to you. Audit your wardrobe, and I don't mean fabric. Audit your regalia of language. Replace my position with my purpose. Replace my followers with my beneficiaries. Replace my platform with my product. Ask 3 brutal questions this week. 1, if they strip me of my title tomorrow, would my contribution remain? 2, if there were no cameras, would I still show up with excellence? If applause stopped, would I finish anyway? Romans 12:2 says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Conformity wears costumes, transformation picks up towels. Renew your mind until your soul prefers results over robes. Make a note of this. Counterfeit leadership spends budgets on entrances. True leadership spends sweat on exits, on what remains when you leave. Counterfeit leadership builds statues. True leadership builds systems. Counterfeit leadership cuts ribbons. True leadership opens doors that stay open when you are gone. The test is transfer. Can someone use what you built without you? If not, you performed. You did not lead. History is full of warnings. Great empires collapse not because of enemies at the gate, but because of emptiness at the core. Immorality, vanity, spectacle, bread, and circuses, the Romans called it. Keep the people entertained while the foundations rot. That spirit is alive in our institutions today. Festivals without factories, rallies without reforms, conferences without curricula, prayers without plans. Write this down. Theater is the enemy of throughput. You cannot finish what you are busy announcing. So here is the instruction. Reduce dependence on titles, likes, and robes. Return to purpose, principles, and product. Remove honorifics from your email signature and add deadlines. Replace press releases with progress reports. Cancel one gala and fund one scholarship pipeline. Exchange a convocation for a construction schedule. Replace a national day of speeches with a national year of measurable literacy gains. What did I say? Purpose, principles, product. Anchor in purpose why you exist. Bind yourself to principles, non-negotiable standards shaped by truth. Commit to product, tangible deliverables that bless people. By their fruits you will know them. Matthew 7:16. Not by their feathers, fruits. Finally, take this vow with me. No more performing, producing only. Not theater transformation. Not regalia results. Not domination service. Say it aloud until your heart believes it. And like our master, lay aside the garments that impress the colonizer, take up the towel that embarrasses the proud, and wash the feet of your assignment until it can run on its own. When you do, you will find that finishing becomes natural because you have divorced applause and married responsibility. And the cemetery will lose another fortune it thought it owned. We have made a vow, no more performance, only production. But vows die without virtue. Write this down. Finishing is a character issue before it is a time management issue. Time will not compensate for a weak soul. A perfect calendar in the hands of a fractured character is an elegant delay. Make a note of this. Your clock amplifies who you are. It cannot repair who you refuse to become. Let's begin at the root, the spirit of a healthy self-concept. You act from identity, not from insecurity. If you don't know who you are, you will negotiate with every distraction to feel needed. The insecure say yes to be liked. The secure say no to stay aligned. Jesus said, I know where I came from and where I am going. John 8:14. That is identity speaking and identity finishes. James warns a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. James 1-8. Unstable ways do not cross finish lines. Write this down. Clarity of self stabilizes the schedule. Reduce yourself to your first name again and let your actions emerge from essence, not from applause cravings. True leadership is about becoming before doing, identity before activity, character before calendar. Now, discipline yourself to protect trust. Say it with me. Discipline yourself to protect trust. Psalm 15 describes the person who swears to his own hurt and does not change. That is a finisher's spine. Paul says, I discipline my body and bring it into subjection. 1 Corinthians 9:27. Why? Because an undisciplined appetite will eat your assignment. Trust is the only commodity leaders trade in. Miss enough small promises and the market closes on your influence. Make a note of this. Integrity keeps the path open to finish. Compromise clutters it with detours. If you want to finish, shrink the gap between what you say and what you do. Keep appointments with your assignment like you keep appointments with your heroes. Excellence must become your default, not your mood. Daniel 6:3 says, then this Daniel was preferred because an excellent spirit was in him. Notice spirit first, excellence internalized, then preference followed. Excellence is not an event. It is a nature expressed through habits. Write this down. What you do repeatedly becomes who you become publicly. Sloppy private work produces public explanations. Ecclesiastes 9:10. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with your might. With your might, not with your leftover energy, not with your afterthought focus. The finisher's creed is simple. If my name is on it, it must carry my standard. And my standard does not adjust to convenience. Focus and courage are the twin guards of a finish line. You will not complete your one assignment if you keep embracing every good thing. Nehemiah answered the distractions. I am doing a great work and cannot come down. Nehemiah 6:3. Write this down. Saying no is not rude. It is righteous stewardship. Hebrews 12:1 commands us to lay aside every weight and the sin that entangles and run with endurance. Some things are not sins. They are weights, heavy, shiny, opportunity-shaped weights that slow your obedience. Proverbs 4:25-27 says, let your eyes look straight ahead. Ponder the path of your feet. Do not turn to the right or the left. Ponder the path. Calculate the cost of yes. Courage is not merely fighting lions. It is declining lunches. Consistency beats intensity. Say it with me. Consistency beats intensity. Most of you don't need more inspiration. You need more iteration. Luke 16:10 tells us, he who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. Faithfulness in small units compounds into finished monuments. 1 page a day is a 365-page manuscript in a year. 30 minutes of skill practice for 300 days is 150 hours enough to separate you from 90% of your field. Galatians 6:9 says, let us not grow weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. The harvest is faithful, the fainting is optional. Write this down. Small, kept promises to yourself. Train your soul for large completions for others. Let me give you a character rule that will rescue your calendar. Adopt a non-negotiable order of priorities shaped by purpose, presence, principles, production, people. Presence begin with God. In quietness and confidence shall be your strength. Isaiah 30-15. Principles, rehearse your standards before you touch your schedule. Production, touch the one assignment before you touch messages and meetings. People, serve them after you have served your gift to them. What did I say? Presence, principles, production, people. If you reverse that order, you will be praised by crowds and punished by your conscience. Establish finish habits. Write this down. Pre-decide your day. Finishing is easier when decisions have been made in advance by principles. Choose your start time and defend it. Choose your deep work block and shut the door. Choose your daily deliverable, a page, a prototype step, a policy paragraph, a training module section, and do it before the world requests your attention. Keep a visible evidence list every week, tangible proofs of progress you can hand to a mentor. Proverbs 21:5 reminds us the plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance. Diligence is planning enforced by character. Guard your mouth. A finisher refuses to announce more than they have structured. In the multitude of words, sin is not lacking. Proverbs 10:19. Over-talking is a leak in the tank of momentum. Close the mouth, open the spreadsheet, close the boast, open the blueprint. Habakkuk 2:2, write it plain, then run. The running follows the writing, and the writing must be enforced by a will trained to obey itself. Finally, hear the finisher's benediction. Paul said, I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith. 2 Timothy 4:7. Notice the order: fight, finish, keep. There is warfare, there is work, there is worship, but the engine is character. Say this with me until it brands your bones. I choose character before calendar. I act from identity, not insecurity. I discipline myself to protect trust. Excellence is my default. I say no with courage. I advance by consistency. Again, I choose character before calendar. And as you practice this, you will discover what I discovered when I argued with God about my own schedule years ago. The day did not change, the man did. And when the man changes, the assignment is finished. Write this down. Clarity arrives in quiet conviction, not in crowds, not in conferences, in quiet. I know because I met my assignment at 3 a.m. I had wrestled for months, speaking, traveling, performing excellence while negotiating with fear. One night I could not sleep. I turned off every light, every screen, and I argued with God like Jacob at the Jabbok. Why won't you tell me? I asked. The answer came back, I already did. You are talking too much to hear me. In that stillness, I saw what I had been avoiding. Not something grandly vague, something embarrassingly specific. I wrote it down with my hands shaking. The moment I stopped bargaining with fear, clarity stopped whispering and started speaking. My sheep hear my voice. John 10:27. The voice was not loud, it was near. Make a note of this. God whispers because he is close. Volume is for distance. So here is your instruction. Schedule a private retreat. No screens, just a journal and your conscience before God. Jesus, rising very early in the morning, while it was still dark, departed and went out to a desolate place, and there he prayed. Mark 1:35. Luke 6:12 says he spent the night in prayer, and by morning chose the 12. Night watch precedes naming. Set 12 hours sunset to sunrise if you can. Find a room with a door that closes. Take a Bible, water, and a journal. That's it. No playlist, no podcast, no applause. Say this with me. I will meet God at my watch. Habakkuk said, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower and will watch to see what he will say to me. Habakkuk 2:1. Watch to see, meaning expect pictures, sentences, burdens, expect conviction. Now, ask precise questions until your assignment speaks. Write this down and do not edit it with your ego. 1. What is my purpose? The why that does not change. 2. What is my passion? The fire that makes work feel like worship. What are my principles? The non-negotiables that will govern how I deliver. 4. Who is my people? Not the crowd, your constituency, the specific community. Your gift was designed to serve. Purpose, passion, principles, people. What did I say? Purpose, passion, principles, people. Proverbs 20:5 tells us counsel in the heart of man is like deep water. A man of understanding draws it out. Your questions are the rope. Your journal is the bucket. Draw. To guide your drawing, use the 4P test. Passion. What would you do for free and feel cheated if they paid you? What energizes you beyond applause? Pain. What breaks your heart, angers your spirit, keeps you lamenting in prayer? Moses' passion for justice met Israel's pain in slavery. Proficiency, what do you do with uncommon ease that solves real problems? Not potential proficiency. People have thanked you for it already. Proximity, what is within reach right now? Resources, relationships, neighborhoods, institutions. Your starting ground is not imaginary, it is near. Where passion, pain, proficiency, and proximity overlap, assignment emerges. Write this down. Destiny is not distant. It is where your design meets a demand within your reach. Let me illustrate. I sat with a seamstress named Auntie Miriam, fiction in your mind, but real in God's registry. Her passion, restoring dignity through clothing. Her pain, girls missing school because uniforms were torn. Her proficiency, tailoring with excellence. Her proximity, 3 schools within walking distance and a church basement. In the night's watch, her assignment spoke, create a uniform cooperative to keep girls in class. She wrote the covenant. In 1 year, dropout rates fell. She never posted a selfie, she posted a solution. By their fruits you will know them. Matthew 7:16. Now you write a covenant. 1 paragraph. Name the deliverable and the people it serves. Habakkuk 2:2 again. Write the vision, make it plain on tablets that he may run who reads it. Plain means specific. Not I will help youth. That is a slogan. Covenant like this. I, Samuel, by the grace of God, commit to design and launch a 1-2 week make-a mentorship for 100 fatherless boys in District 7, teaching carpentry and character, with 3 certified mentors beginning September 1 to graduate with a tool set and a job pathway. Make a vow and keep it. Make vows to the Lord your God and perform them. Psalm 76-11. A covenant binds your will to a finish line. Next, create a yes-no filter that will protect this covenant. Write this down. Every opportunity must ask permission from your assignment. 5 questions will serve you. 1, does this advance the covenanted deliverable? 2, does it meaningfully serve my people? 3, is it aligned with my principles? Does it leverage my proficiency or distract me into mediocrity? Does it fit the season and capacity I pre-decided? If the answer is not a strong yes to at least 3, it is a distraction clothed as honor. Jesus said, let your yes be yes and your no, no. Matthew 5:37. Courage says no to protect a higher yes. Make a note of this. Solitude is not escape, it is strategy. Elijah met a whirlwind, an earthquake, a fire, and then a still small voice. 1 Kings 19:12. Clamor impressed him. Clarity instructed him. He left that cave with names, places, successes, a plan. When you emerge from your watch, you must have nouns and numbers. Who, what, when, where, with whom. Write this down. If your night watch does not produce a noun, you napped. Ask again until your assignment speaks. Some of you fear silence because silence exposes vagueness. Good, let it. James 1:5 promises, if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, and it will be given. Ask with the honesty of a child and the urgency of a soldier. Stop performing questions for God. Interrogate your soul before him. Reduce yourself to your first name in that room. No titles, no excuses. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. I appointed you. Jeremiah 1:5. He is not deciding your assignment at 3 a.m. He is revealing it. Here is your immediate practice. Open your calendar right now in your mind and set a date within 7 days for a personal night watch, 6 to 12 hours. Prepare a short list of scriptures. Psalm 46:10, John 10:27, Habakkuk 2:1-2, Proverbs 20:5, Jeremiah 1:5. Bring questions and water. Fast noise. Write until the sentence appears. When it does, stand up and read it aloud to God. Then send that one paragraph to a trusted mentor and say, hold me to this. In the morning, build your yes, no filter and tape it above your desk. Say this with me. Clarity is my portion. I will ask precise questions until my assignment speaks. I will not negotiate with fear. I will write the covenant and live by the filter. Again, clarity is my portion. And as you keep the night watch, you will discover what I discovered. The world didn't change at 3 a.m. The man did. And when the man changes, the assignment steps out of hiding and starts walking toward its finish. You have your covenant sentence and your filter. Now we must build the road to the finish. Write this down. A clear plan converts noble intention into measurable completion. Proverbs 16:3 says, commit your works to the Lord and your thoughts will be established. Works activities on a calendar. Established thoughts stabilized by structure. Make a note of this. What is scheduled gets finished. Nehemiah did not merely have a burden, he had a build plan. So the wall was finished in 52 days. Nehemiah 6:15. That is scheduled speaking. That is faith wearing a stopwatch. Take your covenant and translate it into deliverables with due dates and success metrics. Deliverables are nouns. You can hand to people curriculum, modules, policy drafts, prototypes, scholarships awarded, families served, clinics opened. Due dates are the days you will show the fruit. Metrics are the numbers that prove love became logistics. Write this down. Name the thing, date the thing, measure the thing. Who is responsible? By when? How many? How well? Luke 14:28 says, which of you intending to build a tower does not sit down first and count the cost? Counting the cost is planning the calendar and the checklist before you swing the hammer. Adopt 1-2 week sprints. Why? Because eternity is managed in seasons. Jesus set his face like flint toward Jerusalem in a defined window focus with a finish in view. A 1-2 week sprint is a consecrated quarter, a covenanted period where one primary deliverable reigns. Write this down. One sprint, one throne, one deliverable. Everything else must become support or be scheduled later. Choose the one outcome that will move your assignment from concept to concrete. Launch the pilot, complete the manuscript, open the first site, implement the policy in one district, certify the first cohort, put it at the top of your sprint charter. By week 12, X is live, used, and evaluated. Then break it into weekly milestones. Week 1, research complete. Week 2, outline done. Week 3, draft. Week 5, user test. Week 6, revise. Week 7, 8 build, week 9 dry run, week 10 launch, week 11 collect data, week 12 review and report. What did I say? 1 sprint, 1 thrown. Now, the daily law, write this down. The first hour belongs to your gift. Create before you communicate. Production before promotion. Matthew 6:33, seek first the kingdom. First means first. If you give your freshest focus to messages, meetings, and miscellany, you will end each day applauded but unfinished. Offer God your first fruits in the factory of your assignment. Jesus rose early and produced prayers before he produced miracles. Mark 1:35. For you, that first hour is manuscript pages, design iterations, curriculum writing, code commits, policy paragraphs, tangible output, turn off notifications, shut the door. This is Alton Workshop in one. Make a note of this. You cannot post your way to a finish. Produce, then speak. Build margins like a wise farmer. The Sabbath is not a suggestion. It is an engine guard. The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. Mark 2:27. Rhythm is righteousness. Schedule a weekly Sabbath, 24 hours of worship, rest, and delight. No building, only becoming. Schedule thinking time, 2 hours a week with a pen and no devices to work on the work. Schedule recovery. Sleep like a steward, not a martyr. Exercise your body. Eat for endurance. Isaiah 40:31 says, they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Renewal is scheduled. Write this down. Exhaustion is a counterfeit anointing. It feels heroic and finishes nothing. Establish a weekly review and scorecard. Measure output, not motion. By their fruits you will know them. Matthew 7:16. Fruit is output. Motion is busyness. On the same day each week, sit down with your covenant, your sprint, and your calendar. Ask, what did I ship? What evidence can I show? Pages written, household served, modules completed, policies drafted, dollars deployed, users retained. Score it simply, planned versus delivered. Then adjust without guilt, recommit without delay. Lamentations 3:23 promises. His mercies are new every morning. Receive mercy and move. Do not spend Monday punishing Sunday. Spend Monday building Monday. Make a note of this. Condemnation paralyzes. Correction optimizes. Design your scorecard categories now. Write this down. Inputs, outputs, outcomes. Inputs, hours of deep work, meetings kept short, funds allocated. Outputs, deliverables shipped this week. Outcomes, beneficiary results, learning gains, adoption rates, job placements, health improvements. Keep the numbers honest. If it does not bless people, it is not legacy. Add one more column, lessons. What worked? What broke? What will you change next week? Wisdom compounds when captured. Guard your plan from good things that are not your thing. Your yes, no filter is your bouncer. Your calendar is the guest list. If an invitation does not advance the sprint's throne, it waits. Say it with me. No is a holy word. Let your yes be yes and your no, no. Matthew 5:37. No to scattered errands and prime hours. No to meetings without agendas. No to projects that flatter your ego and starve your assignment. And when you must communicate, do it after the first hour is paid to your gift. Production first, then promotion. Order is obedience. Finally, seal it in prayer and practice. Commit your sprint to the Lord. Put your milestones where your eyes can see them. Share the plan with a mentor and 2 intercessors. Ask them to call you on Thursday for the scorecard. Then begin. Not next month, tomorrow morning in your first hour. Say this with me. What is scheduled gets finished. 1 sprint, 1 throne. Create before I communicate. Measure fruit, not fuss. Rest to run. Adjust, recommit, advance. And as you do these, you will watch vision become deliverables, ideas become evidence, and your assignment move from vow to victory. Now that you have a covenant, a sprint, and a first hour altar, we must settle the question of influence. Write this down. Serve until you're sought. True leadership is not about seeking followers. It is about serving purpose so faithfully that people seek you because your fruit feeds them. Proverbs 18:16 says, a man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. Not a man's marketing, not a man's manipulation. A man's gift serve. Make a note of this. Finish lines speak louder than flyers. Prototype publicly. Do not keep your brilliance in a notebook waiting for perfect conditions. He that observes the wind will not sow, Ecclesiastes 11:4. Sow a small, high excellence version in the open where your assigned people can touch it. If your covenant is a 1-2 week mentorship for fatherless boys, start with 4 on a Saturday and do it with such precision that their mothers become your public relations department. If your assignment is health coaching for shift workers, serve 10 nurses on the night shift for free for 2 weeks and track their sleep and energy gains. If you are writing policy, pilot one school or one district with a draft and measure attendance changes. Write this down. Small and excellent beats big and sloppy. Zechariah 4:10 asks, who has despised the day of small beginnings? The Lord rejoices to see a plumb line in a builder's hand. Heaven celebrates prototype more than pretense. Give value freely to your assigned people, not to everyone, to your people. Housewives, students, mechanics, clerks, and kings. Who did we say? Housewives, students, mechanics, clerks, and kings. Jesus fed multitudes without charging admission, yet he was laser specific about his mission. I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel. Matthew 15:24. Generosity and specificity can live in the same body of an open lesson, a clinic day, a repair walkthrough, a literacy lab, a leadership breakfast for civil servants, free, focused, excellent. Luke 6:38 promises, give and it will be given to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Influence rushes toward those who pour without manipulation. True leadership is not about power, it is about empowerment. Reduce yourself to your first name. Write this down. Brand essence, not ego accessories. Take the crowns off your head titles, tags, theatrics, and let your work carry your name. The more titles you need, the less substance you may have. When people taste what you deliver and say, ask Aisha, call David, find Toomey, that is influence. Jesus never printed a business card, yet Mark 1:28 says, immediately his fame spread. Why? Delivery, authority, clarity, not noise. Make a note of this. When essence is strong, the label is light. Influence flows to clarity, consistency, and character, not to noise. Say it with me. Influence flows to clarity, consistency, and character. Clarity, your assignment is plain. Consistency, you show up week after week with evidence. Character, you keep your word, keep your standards, keep your spirit clean. Proverbs 22:29 declares, do you see a man diligent in his work? He will stand before kings. Diligence is not a feeling, it is a rhythm. If you cannot be found in the same place, serving the same gift with the same excellence, you are not ready for kings. Kings are busy. They come to reliability. Here is a field test this week. Prototype publicly. Choose a micro cohort. 12 students for a Saturday Maker Lab. 8 mothers for a nutrition clinic. 5 apprentices for a roof repair practicum. 1 civil office for a policy dry run. Announce it to the few you are called to, not to the whole internet. Deliver with such excellence that they carry the story. Collect 3 things: a measurable result, a testimonial quote, and a before-after picture or policy metric. By their fruits you will know them. Matthew 7:16. Fruit is your microphone. Let me tell you what I saw at 3 a.m. years ago when I argued with God about why doors weren't opening. He said, you don't need doors, you need a table. Psalm 23:5 says, you prepare a table before me. Tables attract the hungry. I started setting a table every week, a free leadership round table for young adults at 6 a.m. The first week, 3 showed, then 7, then 30, no flyers. They invited themselves because the table was set. Make a note of this. Set the table consistently and the right people will find their seats. Celebrate early wins. Write this down. Progress confirms alignment. Don't wait for the grand opening to rejoice. When one boy completes your 1-2-week path and lands a job, heaven throws a party, so should you. Luke 15 shows God rejoices over one. If you built the first module, praise God, and published a lesson learned to your team, if your pilot data shows a 12% improvement in attendance, shout in the office and then ask, how do we move to 20? Testimony is not vanity, it is stewardship. Revelation 12:11 says, they overcame by the word of their testimony. Your testimony fuels your team and frightens your fear. Guard against the intoxication of attention. People will begin to seek you, and with seeking comes flattery. Write this down. Let demand refine you, not define you. When the crowd pressed Jesus to stay, he said, I must preach the kingdom to other towns also, for this is why I was sent. Luke 4:43. Purpose, not popularity, directed his tour schedule. Increase your filters as influence grows. Say no to stages that are not your assignments, harvest fields. Politicians chase the next election. Leaders chase the next generation. Keep your eyes on the boys, the nurses, the district, the clinic, finish lines, not spotlights. Finally, make a covenant with your mouth and your hands. Speak little, deliver much. Prototype, measure, refine, repeat. Serve your gift with excellence until your assignment begins to call your name from places you never applied. What did I say? Serve until you're sought. One more time. Serve until you're sought. And as you do, you will discover the law I have watched in every nation. When a man or woman reduces to purpose and serves with disciplined character, kings will find their address. Your gift will make room. Your work will announce you. And influence will arrive as a byproduct of delivery. Now hear me. When influence begins to knock, warfare begins to stalk. Attention is an ambush if you don't arm your soul. Write this down. Completion is combat. Your enemies are not mystical. They wear familiar uniforms. Procrastination, worshiping tomorrow as an idol. Perfectionism, fear, dressed in designer excellence. People-pleasing idolatry with a smile, asking crowds to approve what God already commanded. Fatigue, self-sabotage, presented as sacrifice. Name them so you can chain them. Hebrews 12:1 says, lay aside every weight and the sin that so easily entangles and run with patience the race set before us. Weights are not always wicked. They are just heavy enough to make you miss your time. Comfort is not your friend. Conviction is your ally. Say it with me. Conviction over comfort. Again, conviction over comfort. Comfort will sing you to sleep beside unfinished walls. Conviction will wake you at dawn to lay another stone. Nehemiah's critics sent messages, come down and meet. He answered, I am doing a great work and cannot come down. Nehemiah 6:3. Write this down. Every come down is a test of your conviction. True leadership is not about agreeing with the crowd. It is about obeying the call. Galatians 1:10 asks, am I now seeking the approval of man or of God? Choose. Politicians are consumed with the next election. Leaders are consumed with the next generation. Make a note of this. Refuse the short-term trap. Replace next notification with next generation. Turn off the pings and turn on your posterity. If your phone can command your focus, your future is for sale. One thing is necessary. Jesus told Martha, Mary chose it. Luke 10:42. Choose one thing daily. What did I say? One thing. Now create non-negotiables like a soldier sets guard posts. Write this down. Device-free creation windows. Lock the phone in another room for 90 minutes and produce pages, prototypes, policy paragraphs. First hour, altar and workshop, no exceptions. Next, pre-decided meeting limits. 30 minutes or decline. Agendas or reschedule. 2 fixed meeting blocks per week so your assignment keeps the throne. If it bleeds into deep work, it is a thief. energy, stewardship, sleep as a strategy, not a sin. Exercise for endurance. Eat for longevity, not applause. Elijah didn't get a new vision until he got a nap and a meal. 1 Kings 19. Make a covenant with your energy. I will not trade tomorrow's strength for tonight's scrolling. Procrastination tells you later is safer. Write this down. Delayed obedience is disobedience in slow motion. James 4:17 says, whoever knows the good he ought to do and doesn't do it, to him it is sin. Beat procrastination with public micro deadlines. Tell your team, module 2 ships Wednesday at 5 p.m. Tell your mentees, pilot survey results posted Friday at noon. When the sun is your stopwatch, shadows behave. Perfectionism will whisper, not yet. It's not flawless. Answer it. Excellence improves in motion. He who observes the wind will not sow. Ecclesiastes 11:4. So now, perfect next sprint. Make a note of this. Done with dignity beats delayed for vanity. People pleasing is a soft prison. It is asking Egypt to clap as you leave. You owe courtesy to all, but consent only to your assignment. Reduce your approvals to 2, God's purpose and your covenant filter. Luke 4:43, Jesus said, I must preach, for this is why I was sent. Purpose wrote his itinerary, let it write yours. And fatigue, listen, God gave you a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1-7. A sound mind structures rest. Schedule your Sabbath, your thinking block, your training. Write this down. Tired is not an anointing. Strength is stewardship. Interpret opposition correctly. Pressure does not mean you are off course. It means you are on target. Romans 5:3-4 says, we glory in tribulations, knowing that tribulation works patience, and patience character, and character hope. Pressure refines resolve. Adversity clarifies assignment. When funds tighten, vision sharpens. When critics shout values, stand up. When delays happen, systems mature. Don't curse the gym that builds your muscle. Say it, pressure is my trainer. Erect guardrails to protect trust like you'd protect oxygen. Accountability partner, someone with permission to interrogate your calendar, your deliverables, your soul. Meet weekly, show evidence, confess, drift early. Public micro deadlines, post your 2-week goals where your team can see them. Humility now prevents humiliation later. Ethical boundaries, write a covenant of conduct. No secret finances, 2 signature disbursements. No private closed door counseling that compromises integrity. Documented decisions, transparent procurement, clear conflict of interest policy. The integrity of the upright guides them. Proverbs 11:3. Write this down. Trust is your only currency. Spend it slow and guard it fast. Equip your mouth with a wartime liturgy. Each morning declare, I press toward the mark for the prize. Philippians 3:14. At noon, remind your soul, I am doing a great work. I cannot come down. At night, review, fruit, not fuss. Put Ephesians 6 on your wall. Belt of truth, clarity, breastplate of righteousness, ethics, shoes of readiness, systems, shield of faith, folks, helmet of salvation, identity, sword of the Spirit, word. This is not poetry. This is policy for your soul. Write this down and never forget it. Completion requires militant focus. Choose conviction over comfort every day. Not some days, every day. Say it with me, conviction over comfort. Again, conviction over comfort. And when you live like that, you will join Paul in his epitaph, not of applause, but of accomplishment. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. 2 Timothy 4-7. May that be said of you, not because you intended, but because you enforced. Now get back to the wall. Do not come down. Finish. Legacy now. Not applause, not a statue, not a street with your name. Legacy that people can use on Monday morning when you are not in the room. Write this down. Legacy is not the memory of you. It is the usability of what you finished and transferred. The currency of leadership is trust. Not likes, not crowds, trust. If they cannot predict you, they cannot build with you. It is required of stewards that a man be found faithful, says Scripture. Faithful is predictable. Make a note of this. Deliver predictably. Document clearly. Delegate wisely. Predictability earns trust. Documentation preserves trust. Delegation multiplies trust. Deliver predictably. Keep your word until your word keeps you. If you say Wednesday at 5, let Wednesday at 5 become a covenant. Let your yes be yes and your no, no. When your calendar is truthful, your team becomes courageous. The reason people hesitate to take the baton from you is because your hand trembles. Stabilize your hand with standards. Document clearly. Write the vision and make it plain upon tablets so he may run. That reads it. Habakkuk 2:2. Plain means steps, checklists, definitions, diagrams. A process in your head is a prison for your team. Leadership that dies with a password is malpractice. Make a note of this. If it is not written, it is not transferable. Delegate wisely. Jethro told Moses, select capable men who fear God, trustworthy men who hate dishonest gain, and appoint them over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. True leadership is not about doing everything. It is about empowering faithful ones to do the right things at the right level. Paul told Timothy, entrust these things to faithful men who shall teach others also. Write this down. Capacity without character is a liability. Character with cultivation becomes capacity. Look for faithfulness first, then train for skill. Give authority with accountability. Require reports with results. Trust grows when you measure fruit, not fuss. Finish small before you finish big. Completion is a muscle. Train it on the little weight so you can lift the heavy. He who is faithful in little is faithful also in much, Jesus said. Ship the first module before you announce the course. Complete the first clinic day before you open the hospital. Write this down. Prove the finish at small scale until your soul believes you. Your brain needs evidence that you are a finisher. Feed it wins. David did not start with Goliath. He started with a lion and a bear. Then he told a king, the God who delivered me from the lion and the bear will deliver me from this Philistine. Your small finishes are your court brief before destiny. Now, transfer systems. Say it with me. Transfer systems. What did I say? Transfer systems. Create playbooks, step-by-step manuals, and checklists for the recurring tasks that power your assignment. Create apprentices, people who shadow, then do under supervision, then do with feedback, then teach others. Create licenses, clear, generous permissions for others to replicate your program with fidelity and accountability in their village, their district, their company. Create archives, organize repositories of templates, designs, sermons, policies, data sets, and case studies with version dates and usage notes. Make a note of this. Organize your wisdom like you expect strangers to use it well. If only you can find it, you have already buried it. The generosity principle governs legacy. There is one who scatters and yet increases, and another who withholds more than is right, and it leads to poverty, Proverbs says. Jesus added, unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. What you keep dies with you. What you release multiplies beyond you. Write this down. Die empty on purpose. Empty of ideas hoarded. Empty of systems guarded. Empty of wisdom hidden. Paul said, I am already being poured out like a drink offering. Poured out, that is legacy language. When your last day comes, the only tragedy is excess inventory in your soul. Let's define die empty so no one gets lost. To die empty is to exit earth having delivered all. You carried ideas turned into curricula, convictions turned into policies, designs turned into prototypes, wisdom turned into manuals, relationships turned into teams, values turned into covenants. Jesus prayed in John 17, I have finished the work you gave me to do. He left a kingdom constitution in men, not on paper only habits, teachings, structures, a spirit-empowered team, and a commission with clarity. David died empty. He gave Solomon blueprints, materials, orders of service, funding, and the vision. Elijah died empty, the mantle fell on Elisha, and the school of prophets remained. Moses died empty. Joshua had the law, the strategy, the presence, and the people organized by tribes. True leadership is generational stewardship. Politicians think about the next election. Leaders think about the next generation. Legacy is the usability test of your leadership. Here is a weekly practice. Write this down. The inventory of transfer. Once a week, same hour, same chair, ask these questions aloud. What remains in me that must be put in them? Which process is still in my head only? Who needs to shadow me this week? What document must be drafted before Friday? What password, key, contract, or contact is locked with me alone? If I disappeared for 90 days, what would break first? Fix that this week. Psalm 78 says, He commanded our fathers that they should make them known to their children, that the generation to come might know. Inventory is obedience. Put it in them. Build a trust and transfer scorecard. Did we deliver what we promised? When we promised? Is the playbook current and tested by someone else? How many apprentices progressed from shadow to solo this month? How many licenses were issued, monitored, and improved through feedback? What assets were archived with clarity? Write this down. A legacy you cannot count is a legacy you cannot trust. Count not for vanity, but for stewardship. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. Inheritance is not only real estate, it is repeatable results and reliable systems. Guard your heart against the vanity of ownership. Your gift is a public trust. Reduce your name. Elevate the work. If it must be your voice to be valuable, you have discipled fans, not successes. Teach them to quote the principles, not your personality. True leaders do not seek followers. They release leaders. Empowered people will not make you smaller. They will make the assignment larger. Make a note of this. When you build transfer, you trade fame for fruit, and the kingdom prefers fruit. Finally, seal this with a vow. Say it with me. I will die empty. Again, I will die empty. My ideas will not be buried. My systems will not be secret. My wisdom will not be hoarded. I will deliver predictably, document clearly, delegate wisely. I will finish small and finish big. I will create playbooks, apprentices, licenses, and archives. Every week I will ask, what remains in me that must be put in them? And when my time is full, may my generation rise and say, we can use what you left. Legacy is not the memory of you. It is the usability of what you finished and transferred. Now go empty out. Now lift your head and put your hand on your heart. Say it aloud with authority. I am necessary. I will not die full. I will finish my assignment. Again, stronger. I am necessary. I will not die full. I will finish my assignment. Write this down. Heaven sent you with inventory. Earth is your invoice. Time is your auditor. Psalm 90:12 says, teach us to number our days that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. Wisdom is not simply knowing, it is scheduling what you know. The grave cannot praise you, Isaiah 38:18. So while breath is in your nostrils, deliver. Here is your 3-0-6-0-9-0 day finish plan. Write this down and do not negotiate with it. First, select one deliverable, not 10-1. The course module, the clinic day, the policy pilot, the apprenticeship blueprint, the prototype artifact. Name it, date it. Ecclesiastes 9:10 declares, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with your might. Second schedule, daily blocks. First hour belongs to creation. Protect it like oxygen. Put it in your calendar with a title, Deliverable Build. No meetings, no messages, no meandering. Third, choose an accountability partner. Not a fan, a friend who fears God. Give them permission to interrogate your progress every week. Send them your weekly scorecard before they ask. James 2:17 says, faith without works is dead. Works without witnesses drift. Witnesses keep works alive. Now, your civic script, make a note of this. You are not just responsible for your assignment. You are accountable for your environment. Every leader you meet, mayor, pastor, principal, CEO, foreman, director, ask them 3 questions with honor and clarity. What is your purpose? What is your passion? What are your principles? Then measure trust. If they answer swiftly and live consistently, increase cooperation. If they stutter, perform, or pivot to popularity, reduce expectation and increase oversight. Politicians are concerned about the next election. Leaders are concerned about the next generation. Proverbs 20:11, even a child is known by his deeds. Deeds, verify declarations, measure fruit. Install your daily ritual now. Write this down. First hour to create, last 5 minutes to preview. Every evening, before you leave your workstation, set tomorrow's single finished step on top of the pile. Document opened, checklist printed, tools ready. Jesus said, sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. Matthew 6:34. Don't borrow stress from tomorrow, borrow structure. Morning altar and build. Night review and stage. This rhythm will turn intention into momentum. Make a public vow. Announce your finish line date to your community, your team, your family, your circle, your class. Say it out loud and post it where eyes can find it. Module 1 ships on the 30th. Clinic day opens the 18th. Policy pilot begins on the 12th. Invite them to inspect your progress at the 30, 60, and 9 0-day marks. Proverbs 16:3 says, commit your works to the Lord and your thoughts will be established. Commit publicly. God will stabilize privately. Write this down. Secrecy is the sanctuary of sloth. Visibility is the friend of virtue. Now receive your charge. Go now, serve your gift until doors look for you. Protect trust like breath. The integrity of the upright guides them. Proverbs 11:3. Refuse distraction. I am doing a great work and cannot come down. Finish what heaven sent you to deliver. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. Matthew 5:16. Not your good wishes, your good works. Say it once more as a covenant seal. I am necessary. I will not die full. I will finish my assignment. Write this final line and live it. Today, I deny the cemetery my treasure. Today, I choose deadlines over daydreams, character over charisma, service over stage, fruit over fame, and finish over fuss. And when your day is done, may you echo the Messiah. I have finished the work you gave me to do, and rest empty and the earth richer. Now go, finish.